The studio has not provided me a proper budget, so I will have to make up my own newscast intro fanfare. Welcome, everybody. This is Josh Mumbo with Lego News. This time, actually, about Lego and not about Maniac for Bricks. And today, we have a very breaking story that has been sweeping the Instagram this morning and into the afternoon. This is about a new Lego partnership for Lego Spice Girls Brickheadz. This is something almost unheard of, something that we had not heard anything about beforehand as far as any kind of leaks, rumors, whatsoever, whether or not anybody cared up to this point. So, what is this all about? The Lego Brickheadz is going to have a new edition of the Spice Girls, which is a popular 90s pop band, well, with all-female singers, and they also include a couple of accessories such as headsets for their microphones, actual standing microphones, of course having their own base plates, and the 5 members of the Spice Girls. This will retail for $50 in the United States, which comes out to about $10 per brickhead, which is a pretty fair price as most of the brickheads are about $10 to $15 each. So, we're going to go over to my correspondent, Maniac for Bricks, to see what this actually means, if there's anything even worthwhile about this. This is part of the gag. Ah, the cuff got stuck. Oh no. There we go. Why? Why Discord? Why do you have to keep buzzing? This is less professional than it's supposed to be unprofessional. Well, I know one thing, I'm not going to do the interview like this. Literally, original intent was to swap back and forth between the costumes, but that's not going to work. So, after getting the subjective, unbiased part of the news out of the way, we now code over to Maniac for Bricks with his thoughts on this new set release. Thank you, Josh. So, what I've been... Let me fix that again. Thank you, Josh. So, what I've been looking at is that this set is supposed to be... I know this is live, but I still have that thought like, I gotta do it again. Thank you, Josh. So, from what I've been looking at, this release of the Spice Girls Brickheadz set is to commemorate the 25th anniversary of the Spice Girls themselves, which, according to the Lego website, started in 1996 with their debut single, Wannabe, which most people know, I'd say is probably their biggest hit, their almost only hit that as far as I can tell, because nothing else is mentioned on the site about it. They also had their first album released in 1996 as well. And this is to commemorate their 25th anniversary. Now, there are actually a couple problems with this right out the gate. 1. 25th anniversary of the Spice Girls would not actually be 1996 if you're going by the actual formation of the band. The band, according to my research, was formed in 1994. So their 25th anniversary has already happened in 2019. If you do the math, I'm pretty sure that's what it comes out to. Second, the 25th anniversary of the debut single and album would have been 2021, not 2022. So the fact of the matter that they have these Brickheadz coming out as part of their 25th anniversary that already happened last year, it's not unheard of because Sonic technically was part of the 30th anniversary. Even though it was an idea set, it had the 30th anniversary commemoration on the instruction manual and on the box art, and came out in 2022, a year after the 30th anniversary of Sonic. 1991 to 2021 would have been 30 years. It came out in 2022 officially. So maybe this is a similar thing, but it makes even less sense because, I don't know, why would they do this in February? Why would this come out then? Why wouldn't it come out in January? Like, the closest it could be to 2021, to that 25th anniversary of their release, you know? I also think it's a little unfair to say that it's their 25th anniversary, even though that's their public debut. The fact that they were created in 1994, they had to spend those 2 years in between to actually make the music. It's not like Lego when they... Actually, it is like Lego, because this year is their 90th anniversary as the company, 1932. Is that when they started, or is that when their first product was released? Is it the same kind of thing, or is it a different dynamic? I really don't know. I've actually looked on the Spice Girls website, which is a sentence I never thought I would say. I've actually looked on the Spice Girls website, and it still says 25th anniversary, and it has a pop-up immediately for the Lego Brickheadz set. So it's like, maybe this was delayed or something? That's the only thing I could really think of, is that maybe they wanted to get it out in 2021, just like Sonic, then be in the anniversary year itself, but for whatever reason got delayed, and now it's into the next year. I'm really not sure. But hey, don't worry. They'll post everything about it on their social media. They literally, the Lego article that's on their site says why fans would want this set. That's the title. They are almost forcing you to want this set, according to what they had written in the article itself about, when the Spice Girls released and how popular they've been, over millions of albums sold, copies of albums sold, I should say. But why Spice Girls? I don't hate them. I'm just indifferent to them. I know of their song Wannabe. I've known it for a long time. I've grown up with knowing that song. But that's it. I don't think I know any other songs from them. And I think the majority of people are in the same boat. What else do people know from them? I mean, clearly they're still going because they still had albums and they still got sold, but what else did they do? What else did they break into the mainstream media? The last thing that I had been able to look for as far as any kind of viral success was a joke tweet from 2019, where there was a comedian who said, according, at the time, with The Mandalorian, everyone was calling Baby Yoda, or the child, or both. During that time, that's all we knew. We didn't have the name Grogu yet. So the fact that people called it Baby Yoda is that this comedian, I forget the exact name, but I did reshare it on Twitter, because it came from Twitter. The comedian said, Baby Yoda implies the existence of a posh Yoda, of a Spice Yoda, like basically listing everyone in the Spice Girls, because there is a singer in the group that is nicknamed Baby. And then it got redrawn several times, and that became a viral success for a meme. A meme! That's not anything attributing to the, actual artist's success. That's just because of their naming convention, which is fine, but that doesn't mean anything to how they're doing. Like, did album sales increase because of the meme? Did anybody even listen to the song further because of the meme any more than they would have already? I don't think so. Not that I can tell. So, I don't know how many people are still actively supporting Spice Girls as an artist. I don't know when their last major album release was, or when their last single was, or if they've done more cross-promotional stuff in general, and they're like, oh, it's October 25th, and we're going to do this and that and the other. Why did Lego have to be a part of that? There's so many other Lego artists, or there are so many other music artists that Lego could consult without a 25th anniversary or any kind of anniversary whatsoever and make bank. Like, if that's their goal, is that they're capitalizing on the anniversary, they're not doing a lot. I mean, the set doesn't even look that good. I'm on my phone, so unfortunately I can't bring it up on the stream here, but I did put it in the thumbnail. And it doesn't even look that good. Like, I've built tons of Brickheadz. Not all of them, but dozens of Brickheadz. And there are some with really cool building techniques. There are really cool designs as to how they make the torso, how they make everything without printing, with just original parts. And even the hair, sometimes gets very stylish. I don't see that in these. Whoever designed these was given very little to work from, and therefore just had a very basic Brickheadz body, which is just a couple of bricks stacked up. And it's been done several times before, and it's, been old then. But to now see it with 5 more of them in the same set is so unappealing. Like, I would actually be more into them if they actually had more building technique to them. And I can't see any from the official images. Maybe there's something in the hair I don't know about. But it looks really basic to me, all the way around. The outfits themselves, I could say, are Spice Girls outfits, but I couldn't even find an image for a while that had all of them in that actual lineup of outfits. It's, I guess, kind of like the Friends set, actually both Friends sets, in which they just adapted outfits from different time periods or eras, because the only ones that I could tell were like consistently like in group shots of them back in the heyday. The only ones that they consistently wore were the Union Jack, maybe the Posh, and the leopard skin. That was like 3 out of 5 of them. But the rest of them, it's changed a couple times. The one that has like the tank top, it's in different colors. And it's not even the same colors that are in the Brickheadz. So what's going on? It's not like they couldn't have made them for the Brickheadz themselves. They have the colors available. They have those colors in those parts. Those parts in those colors, you know what I mean? What happened there? I would have been okay. Like, I honestly think it would have even been better if they made a Spice Girls promotion tie-in with video. Like, that's how much I don't understand these Brickheadz as a thing. If they said, we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of this 90s pop band that had a couple one-hit wonders, and they put it into video as like, oh, you can use these songs and maybe make like a pack or something. You could even have like a beatbox or something, or like a band set. Yeah, I had one on hand, of course I do. You could have like just one of these sets on hand with them as minifigures, and charge $20, $30 or whatever, and people would buy it. They would buy it, first of all, because they're minifigures of the artist. So those who are fans of it would actually want to see them as minifigures. If they're into Lego and they're into the Spice Girls, they'll probably want them as minifigures over having them as knockoff Funko Pops, because that's what we all know the Brickheadz are. And they are good in some ways, but they're also just capitalizing on an already existing market. So if you just had a set like this with the Spice Girls, and you said, oh, it has the 5 figures, and they have a couple tiles, maybe of their artwork, maybe, of their albums or their singles, adapted in the Lego form, and then you could scan them into video. That would have actually worked. I think that would have actually been appealing to people, even if they're not fans of the artists themselves. You know why? Because that's what video should have done in the first place. And that's something that they've kind of failed to do up to this point, was representing music in Lego form. So, getting back to the actual set for what we do have. $50 is now the highest one product purchase of a Brickhead. Like, we've had $30 before with the Go Brick Me, in which you make a custom Brickhead, which gave you a lot of good parts, and it was a good value for what it was. It gave you 2 Brickheads that you could customize on your own, if I recall correctly. Most of mine, I actually used the parts for other mocks and things, but I still enjoyed it, and I did still try to customize it a little bit. I think I still have the plain white one in one of the other Brickheadz boxes. I don't think I still have the Go Brick Me box itself, because it's rather large for all those pieces. And I'm grateful that I got that one. In back when I had a PO box, I think it was Brick Pasta that sent it to me, and thank you very much for that. If it wasn't, then I apologize, and I'm still thankful for the people who sent it to me. But I'm pretty sure it was Brick Pasta. Anyways, we haven't had Brickheadz really that expensive in general, and that's kind of the appeal of them, is that they're on the small side for price, so that people could continuously buy them. I understand that by splitting up the Spice Girls, it wouldn't make as much sense, because who's going to buy only 1 or 2 of the singers in that group? You want to buy all of them. Well, I postulate the same thing with Disney. Why did they split up those figures? Why did they have Mickey as a 90th anniversary only? Minnie releases at the same time, but no 90th anniversary moniker. Donald, Daisy, Goofy, they all could have been together. People would have bought it as one big set. And it probably would have saved a little bit in packaging and instructions, etc., to do that. Like, I don't see why somebody would buy just Goofy and Pluto or just Donald Duck. You would normally think to buy all of them. I could see why people would buy just Mickey. Like, that would make sense. But I don't know of any people that are specifically just Donald Duck fans or something like that. If they are, please tell me, because I am curious to know. But they've paired up figures before many times. You're not going to have Marty McFly and Doc Brown as their own sets. They put them together as one. They had Homer and Krusty as their own, combined set. They had several Harry Potter figures that kind of mixed between. If it was Harry and Hedwig, if it was Ron and Hermione, or if they were separate. They had Hagrid multiple times, which also, Hagrid technically is still the most expensive because you had to gift with purchase, and you had to spend a lot to get that Brickhead. So and this was at a time when they didn't even have any other Brickheads for Harry Potter in general. So if you were already collecting just the Harry Potter themed ones, you had nothing else to really, it didn't make a lot of sense. It's like, why would you release Hagrid on his own long later than anybody else, and then long before anybody else comes in? Maybe if you're still into Harry Potter, yeah, but you might not be into Brickheads. You might just like the minifigs, the mixed market kind of thing. I don't think that everybody who's a fan of Star Wars has bought every Star Wars iteration of Lego, like brick sketches, like the artwork. Maybe some have overlapped, but I doubt that they've gone to every single one of them because they like Star Wars. I like Star Wars. I rarely buy a lot of Star Wars sets or even branch out into some of these other categories. If I do, it's really out of curiosity, just as Lego does different things. But as the more and more that they do, the more and more it confuses me as well, as somebody who's just trying to research this stuff and figuring out, okay, is it anything like we've seen before, or are they taking this in a whole different direction? Think about Adventure Time. They had the Idea set, which just had brick-built figures. They weren't Brickheads, but they were brick-built figures, kind of like Mixels. And then they had the minifigures for Lego Dimensions. People bought the minifigures because they wanted the minifigures. And multiple times that I've seen in the heyday of that set, that the Idea set was on clearance in multiple stores. Especially, I should have picked it up while it was at Kohl's, but I digress. So, the Spice Girls as a Brickheads, it's like a very particular angle that doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't really line up with things. It implies that you're a fan of the Spice Girls, you're a fan of Lego, and you're a fan of Funko Pops. And assuming that Funko Pop didn't already make the Spice Girls as vinyl figures, or they're not currently available. That's all I could think of. Because if they were available, people wouldn't really gravitate to the Lego one unless they liked Lego too. That's like, you have to corner all of those things together to even justify the purchase. I guarantee that somebody is going to buy the Spice Girls set because of the Baby Yoda thing that I said earlier. Not because I said it. Maybe they thought of it or remembered it. It's like, oh yeah, that's the last time I remember seeing them go around. And they're going to make the Baby Yoda face on every single one of the Spice Girls. I would actually love to see that, but I am probably not the guy who's going to do it. I don't even have Baby Yoda as a Brickhead right now. Not that the parts would be hard to find, but I don't know where my last, handful of sand green plates and tiles and slopes are, that ready to use. It's just weird. It's almost like literally a whole bunch of different things where Lego is trying to go into a brand new market where they're actually trying to just generate the buzz more than the actual worth of the product. And I've seen that time and time again over the past couple of years with Lego, that they're just kind of trying to make the headline that, oh, we're doing a thing. Oh, we're releasing a thing. But not necessarily any value to that. Not any worth to the thing that's happening or the thing being released. Of course everybody knows Lego. Of course everybody loves Lego. But it doesn't mean they're going to love everything built in Lego. You're not going to grab everyone like that. Yeah, so you can look at the room behind me and speak otherwise, but that's because I've been a fan for, upwards of 25. Oh, there we go, 25. Upwards of like almost 30 years. I guess technically 24. I should celebrate my 25th anniversary of Lego tomorrow, next year. That's brilliant idea. Why didn't I think of that before? Wait. Yeah, that would actually work. And that's another thing about this whole thing that kind of irks me. Lego has a fetish for anniversaries, but they specifically have an anniversary fetish for 20, 25, and 30. There are so many different things that they have released recently in the past couple of years and almost the past decade because of a 30th anniversary. And this reflects in the idea submissions. Some of them, they push through ideas, like people will make it as like, oh, it'd be cool to see a Seinfeld Lego set. They will push it through because they see, hey, it's a 30th anniversary or whatever, or Friends, or Sonic even. Like, I like the Sonic thing inherently, but I can't help but notice, yeah, they probably did it because of the anniversary too. And I guarantee that swayed a lot of people for how they're going to submit their Lego Ideas projects is because of those anniversary markers. 25 and 30. The first Ecto 1 that we got from Ghostbusters was because of an anniversary. It was released through Ideas, but on the back of the box, guess what it said? So that, for whatever reason, attracts Lego. Specifically, that 20, 25, and 30 mark. Although there are plenty of other things I've listed from Ideas and otherwise that have, some kind of anniversary value to them. That's a completely different number. I mean, Winnie the Pooh technically has celebrated over 60 years, I think, as a book franchise. Again, this isn't even talking about the fact that it's of Disney or the animations or the films or anything like that or the TV shows or any of that kind of production. It's just talking about the books, which I'm pretty sure the books existed before they became a Disney thing, if I recall correctly. That's like Thomas the Tank. Those were books before they became a TV show. So, yeah, I'm not saying you should buy it. I'm not saying you shouldn't buy it, but it really makes no real sense other than the anniversary part of it to even know of it. It's like, why is this a thing? Oh, that's why. Now, when Lego has stepped into the world of music as far as tie-ins, it's been very wishy-washy. I mean, I already mentioned video. We've already talked about the Spice Girls in this discussion. But any of the times that they have done so before, the Beatles, like one of the most prolific and influential bands in all of history. I'm not saying that they're one of the greatest. I'm just saying that they've had a big impact. And those are two different things. And yeah, I still enjoy them, but that's putting it aside. One of the most influential bands in all of history in music. I don't know if they had an anniversary for their set release of the Yellow Submarine from Lego Ideas, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did. And it really could be an anniversary of the Yellow Submarine album. It could be an anniversary of the band. I don't know. But I actually want to look up after this video, and then I'll tweet about it on Maniac for Bricks if you want to follow me over there. Outside of subscribing and liking and ringing the bell for my channel, of course, I had to put a little plug in there because that's what a YouTuber has to do. So, we have the Beatles. Cool. I'm glad. Unfortunately, I did not actually get the Beatles set at its release. I have the Nowhere Man figure, and I have Paul McCartney, because I got them before the set launched, because they're available on eBay. And I made an early review of them, because that was a thing that people did back in that time. And I think I paid like $20 for each figure or something like that. Was it worth it? I don't know. The Nowhere Man figure, I'm not really sure about that, because I actually haven't seen the Yellow Submarine film. I don't even know if it was an anniversary of the film either. Yeah, there you go. About Green Day. That would be an amazing anniversary set. You have the band. You have, well, maybe they probably wouldn't like it because of the grenade, but it's a heart-shaped hand grenade. That's the point. It's symbolic. But I would be really thrilled if they made a Green Day anniversary set. I mean, you don't even have to do it based on American Idiot. You could say, it's an anniversary of that and maybe have a feature of the album or something with it. But imagine if they just made them based on their current looks. It doesn't even have, like early Green Day, you don't have to make them as minifigures. Because honestly, that's so 90s. It's actually kind of funny. It's like, nobody would want that. They would like the American Idiot Onward like outfits for Green Day, like Billy Joe Armstrong having like the black jacket with a red tie. I'm not trying to copy that. That's just coincidence. I'm bringing that up as what I'm wearing. But anyways, people would be interested in that, but it probably won't happen. I doubt. I feel like at this point they would just do them as Brickheadz now. As far as any other music pursuits, they have made a will.i.am minifigure and part of Lego Education, and I really don't know why. And it wasn't readily available either. And the printing quality on it doesn't even look that good. Like, I've tried to see high quality photos of it. It does not look like other Lego sets. It doesn't even look like anything from the time of its release. I really don't know why it exists. And it really makes me think it's a custom sometimes when I look at it. And yeah, I do look at it sometimes because I'm writing Bizarre Lego. So, there's a lot of Bizarre Lego fodder lately. And the reason, and I'm still trying to write the book. But hey, there's so much happening here. I can't help it. I'm like, do I call it? Like, I can't look at it. Because now I have to write it. Or I want to write it into there. Now, what else has Lego done for Lego for music for official music artists? Not a lot. I mean, there was White Stripes that could have happened, but didn't at that time, and it's funny that it hasn't. I think it would actually be kind of funny if it did happen, because I think that would technically be the first that they would have ever done. For those who don't know the story, and I will have to link the source to it sometime later. But the story goes that the White Stripes were creating a music video for their song Fell in Love with a Girl, which was a single from one of their albums. And the music video is actually animated with Lego. And it's really well done, by the way. The White Stripes approached Lego to create Lego minifigures of the album, or of the band members, to release with the album or the single. I forget which, but I do know that was a thing. And then Lego basically said, no, we're not interested. The song launched, the music video launched, and it was a big hit. It was like, very popular song for a bit. And then Lego came back to White Stripes and said, yeah, can we try that? Can we do that thing? And the White Stripes actually said no. Like, out of spite. They're just like, we already came to you. You already, we're done. Okay. It's really funny to me as a story. And it would have been the first music tie-in, as far as I can tell, with an artist. So it was actually put up in the chat. Lego Rock Band. Technically, yeah. I mean, you had likenesses of David Bowie and Queen and Blur. And I'm not sure if there was anybody else, but there was definitely those that I remember from the game, even though they didn't actually release Lego figures. And that was actually, again, a missed opportunity. The only Lego products you can find outside of the Rock Band video game, even though that's, yes, technically a tie-in, the only merchandise you can find from Lego as far as that, product are keychains and the instructions to build the van. But those van instructions would have existed on their own. I don't think it was really because of Rock Band. It was just kind of like, oh, we use that model in the game, but we already had this as a thing in the club magazine or online as instructions. So that's weird. But yeah, the 2 or 3 keychains that they've released with Lego Rock Band weren't of actual members of any band. They were just reusing Lego parts. They were just using things that already existed and mixing and mashing them together. Like, there were parts from Agents, there were parts from Pirates, there was parts from City, just to make a cool looking dude or two. I actually want to try to look up if there are any other ones, because those are the only ones that come to my mind. And thank you for reminding me about the Lego Rock Band one. It was a very missed opportunity to not make a Lego Queen. Like, they could have made it several times, and they didn't. I think there are actually a couple of opportunities that they could have made several, I'm sure that there's also a lot of, back work, things that we don't know as public, as to why things do or don't happen. And maybe they can't work on something, or maybe the license isn't interested in it or whatever. That could have, that could have changed it. Like, I would love Lego Van Halen to be a thing, but there isn't really much of a reason right now for there to be. And even if there was a reason before, it would have been like maybe a few milestones here and there. But after the passing of Eddie, it's going to be really difficult. But you can't say that they haven't been influenced, because collectible minifigures have had minifigures that were based on Lego artists, but not specifically a certain one. In the case of Van Halen, they had a guitar that had a red and black striping pattern across it. Hello, that's a Van Halen guitar. It's not exactly like the Frankenstein guitar, but it looks like it. I'm sorry, I just know a lot. See, I'm not just an enthusiast about Lego. I know a lot about other things too, especially in music. But as far as I can tell, like, there's not a lot of Lego and music tie-in. So here's a fun one. This is a canceled project, and this was funny enough. One of the earlier times that Lego and Universal Music Group had actually partnered, way before they partnered with video. And that is with Bionicle the Album. In 2002, there was a teaser on the back of one of the comic books, so this was public, that they were making an album. And there were several different bands that were listed for it. And people have kind of guessed over the years what those songs might be, if they were going to be original songs, or if they were going to be repurposing ones from each band that were just going to be compiled together. It's not really sure. There's no real definitive proof of it, but it is fun looking through what, people guess for their playlists. But it never happened. That album never came out. So whatever partnership that Lego had with Lego Universal Music Group, which was teased in 2001, by the way, even before the comic, they had a thing posted on their mini CDs that came with like the first sets in 2001. They had a thing in there that said Universal Music Group, and they had a little, music-based thing, but not actually a real track. And then you had the Power Pack disc, which had music on it that I think was from Universal, which also ties in all this together. You know what I mean? So it's like it kind of happened, but kind of didn't. What else was there? I'm trying to think. There was something else that came up in my head, and I don't remember what it is now. There was... Yeah, I'm not sure what it was. Not a full partnership, I mean. There was something, I'm not sure. So, anyways, yes, you're right. So there was a country artist, Chris Stapleton, who had a Lego themed music video, and this was actually partnered with Lego to animate it, to get the likeness, to make it into minifigures, but they didn't actually release any kind of products for it, as far as I can tell. Like, no promotional tie-ins with Chris Stapleton as we'll put a minifigure in your album or something like that. Not that I've ever seen. Lego has dabbled in music many other times, but not for any particular artists. They've done it with a couple different Duplo sets, and I've actually reviewed one of them a while ago, last year, which had all these little modules you could mix around, so you could change instrumentation of melodies and things like that. Lego has made rattle toys for a long time. I think they've actually made some tambourine toys, again, all in the Duplo, Primo, Baby era. Obviously, the music soundtracks for the Lego movie, Lego Ninjago movie, Batman movie, and Lego Movie 2. Which, funny enough, I think some of the songs are still played outside of context to this day. Like, Forever, from the Lego Batman movie soundtrack, I've heard outside of the movie itself, just on the radio or what have you. There's Neo and I forget who else that made Shake for the video promotion. But again, not actually a minifig, not any physical, tangible product. It was, it was more of a marketing thing, if anything. So after all that, Spice Girls. Oh, you're right. All American Rejects and Bionicle. Yeah, strangely enough, Bionicle has had a lot of tie-ins with music artists. or attempted to tie in with music artists over the years. Kriya Shell as well. Um, but yeah, Save the Band. That was a marketing campaign in 2006 for the All American Rejects. They had a big giveaway in which you could win the All American Rejects album, All American Rejects merch, like guitars and skateboards and things like that. I don't know if there were any Lego products that officially said "Save the Band" on them outside of like like a little thing in the instructions, like, oh, go to the website savetheband.com or whatever it was. Obviously, the Lego sets featured with the band with the giveaway as a commercial, where you have like this kid reporter outside of a dock that's reporting about like, oh, the ship has lost at sea and the Toa and Iker are going to find it, all this kind of stuff, trying to work in like the Lego part, and the and the band part. Move Along was already a hit as far as I could tell, and used with the promotions with the advertisements and things like that. Yeah, I mean, somebody definitely has a guitar somewhere. I have seen somebody who has a skateboard on Twitter. They posted about it. I'm like, yes, awesome. But yeah, some of the other merch, I'm sure somebody has won it, but hasn't done anything. Oh, there was a tour bus that was also part of the giveaway. Not you win a tour bus, but I mean like you get to tour with the band or go to one of the concerts or something like that. I forget exactly what the circumstances were, but there was something as big as that. They had like 2-page spread of different products, Lego and All American Rejects, and combining them to, for this marketing. But as far as actual physical Lego music artist stuff, it's been the Spice Girls, will.i.am, and the Beatles, and not much beyond that, as far as I can tell. A lot of the other stuff has basically been Lego wants to sell a product, so they or sell the brand, so they partner with a music group, label, whatever, to try to push that forward, and then whether or not it does. Video is technically one of the more ambitious ones, in which they've partnered with a lot of different artists, but they're all under the same label again of Universal Music Group. The Elvis set, thank you for reminding me. So there was not only a Beatles set that had the Yellow Submarine, but there was also the Beatles art set, and then there is the Elvis set that's coming out soon. I don't count the Marilyn Monroe one because, first of all, that's pop art. That's Andy Warhol, if I remember correctly. And also Marilyn Monroe, I just realized, is an actress, not a musician. Maybe she sang. I think she sang once. If I remember correctly, I think she's the one who infamously sang to President Kennedy. I could be mixing it up. I'm a little fuzzy on that, but I do remember something like that. I think that's what it was. But yeah, the Beatles one didn't release with any kind of pomp and circumstance for an anniversary, as far as I can tell. I would have probably heard about it. It would have been in the press release. It would have been on the packaging. It doesn't show up on any of that stuff. The Elvis one, I don't know if it does, but it wouldn't surprise me if it did. I mean, probably wouldn't with the Beatles either if I missed something. But yeah, Lego likes their anniversaries. And as a reason to partner with a license, and you know what that means? It's basically the way that they would partner with other licenses, as far as I can tell. They say, hey, this thing is successful. This thing has been lasting a while. This thing is still successful. Let's market with them. Let's make a Lego thing with them. That's why Lego Indiana Jones sets, not only came out with the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but also had ones based on the previous movies, because they're like, okay, we know this is a franchise people like, and it's now getting a new installment, and it's gonna be worth it to us that we make not only sets for the new one, but also the old ones, and 2 video games, which, by the way, I did play Lego Indiana Jones 2 recently. Man, I forgot how bad that was. Like, that is actually one of my least favorite Lego games from TT Games that I can think of. Like, I forgot how bad it was. I got it back in the day, but I forgot how bad it was compared to a lot of other Lego games. Yes, it tried something different, but it did it in such a it did it in such a, what's the word? It was on the tip of my tongue. Cumbersome way. That it's like, not worth it. So, yeah. Did the Ideas piano have any songs programmed into it? I don't think so. I don't think there were any particular artists that were programmed into it, but it did encourage using Lego Boost so that you can actually make sound while playing the piano, if I remember correctly. Fender, I don't know if that one's of any anniversary value, but that's the brand that makes the guitars. It's not to a particular guitarist. There are many bands who use Fender and Gibson and Les Paul, like a whole bunch of other, brands of guitars. I don't think it's like, oh, that works. But, Fender is a very well-known brand of music instruments, especially for their guitars. So there's that. But I don't think they would do that with a whole bunch of other bands either, or even if it was a different instrument, I forget what the name of it is, but there's one that's like with a Z or a J or both or something in it that's like a very well-known brand for drums. I don't think Lego would make a 18 plus drum set with that, partnership in mind, and probably wouldn't be as significant as a display value kind of thing like the guitar would or any of these other ones. It'd be really funny if they did that for like a flute or something completely off. Like the Lego saxophone, 18 plus. Put it on your shelf. Why? As opposed to like a piano, which actually does have like a display value to it, as well as being a playable instrument. A guitar, much like that as well. You're not really gonna display a marimba set. You're not gonna display. That's the one. I don't know how to pronounce it, but Zildjian, I think, is the pronunciation. I don't know what the pronunciation is. But yes, I did see it, and thank you for bringing it up because I couldn't remember offhand. So at the end of the day, Spice Girls, really? All right. So with that in mind, I'm gonna head over to like Digital Designer or Studio or something, and I'm going to mock up and then post it. I'm gonna post it. A whole bunch of other Brickheadz that, now you've opened the floodgates to these things that could be a Brickheadz because of an anniversary. So I'm going to look through and see if there's anything else from like the 90s that could be like a 25th or a 30th anniversary, or say, it could be in the next year or two, a Brickheadz Aqua set because Barbie Girl was such a hit and nothing else that I know of, just to make fun, just to have fun with it. But hey, people have actually made custom Brickheadz of these different artists. People would buy those. People would be interested. I don't think you really need an anniversary for David Bowie or Queen or a lot of other artists to make a product about it. And you've clearly shown that they would, or at least as far as I could tell, didn't have one because they made it for the Beatles. They made it for the Beatles with the pop art. They made it for for Elvis, These are still music icons. And you could still do that for a lot of other things. But the reason why Brickheadz as opposed to minifigs is cheaper. Probably even the license itself of the Spice Girls is cheaper. Like, if you ask for Destiny's Child as opposed to Spice Girls, that might run you a bit more money because Beyonce. Even if Beyonce's doing her own thing and has been for a long time, that's still a more prolific name than the Spice Girls. I mean, yeah, everybody knows them, but again, it's a one-hit wonder. That's the thing. You know them very well for one or two songs, and they've basically faded into obscurity. Like, yeah, they're probably still producing stuff, but they're not hitting mainstream success like they used to. Unless there's some kind of big Spice Girls upheaval that I don't know about, and I've just been living under a rock, which is also likely. That, like, I scroll through social media every day, multiple times a day. I probably would have seen if there was something else related to it. Even from the Spice Girls 25th anniversary, I didn't see anything until looking it up on their site, themselves. And then they had like this little hashtag that they ran on the site. So it's like, celebrating 25 years. Let's see all the fans and what they got and whatever. It's like, okay, this is just a a feed of other people's posts. So there's not even a lot about the thing itself. I haven't looked at the music store to see again what their latest releases are, if they have any recent releases, what the last release was, whatever. It's so boggling to pretty much everyone's mind. Not just mine, but everyone that I can tell looking at this through social media. Everyone is like, why? Why this? And in the path of Brickheadz themselves, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, it's great that we have something that's in the music industry, but why would that be the one to kickstart it? Because it's not a prolific... It's apparently popular enough of a license to be worthwhile. Well, yeah, Lonely Island and the Lego Movie. That's what I said before, is that I didn't really count the soundtracks, because Mark Mothersbaugh from Devo would have counted in that way too, for the Lego Movie and so on. I didn't really count those because they're making soundtracks for the movie. They're not making a product beyond that, you know? Like, the Lego Movie would have already happened. And the artists are just kind of there as a backing, you know, supplement kind of thing, where it's like, oh, Lego's making a theatrical movie, and Lonely Island has a hit single based on the movie, you know? Films do that all the time, you know? That part I didn't really count because of that. They did an album art, mini mosaics, and then they figured too. Yeah, I think that would actually work a lot better. Like, if they had a music album from a band, or even the profiles like they did with the Beatles, and then they released like a small... It could have even been a gift with purchase. It could have been, you know, if you really want to incentivize it without making like mass quantities of that certain thing, Lego could have just made it a gift with purchase. Like they do with a whole bunch of other stuff. It's like, okay, we're not going to produce them enough like the actual set, but this might entice people to buy the set, and maybe we'll make more of them if the demand is really there, you know? You know, K'NEX made Kiss and the Beatles before Lego did. We haven't even seen a Lego Kiss thing. Like, if I have to think of like mainstream prolific artists, even to this day, Kiss is one of them that stands up there, not just because of personal bias or that my dad is like a huge Kiss fan, or anything like that. But they've like that is something that you could still recognize to this day, even if you're not still following their music. But their music is still well known. Detroit Rock City, Rock and Roll All Night, Rock and Roll All Night. Those are like some of their biggest songs. And there are many other ones, but like mainstream success, yeah, those are still used constantly, and all different ways. Not even a Lego set. You had like a vague reference to it with the Lego Batman movie collectible minifigure series, where there was a glam metal Batman. He had the same kind of outfit, but copyright safe enough that it doesn't get in trouble with Kiss, or they didn't care. I don't know which. I did get a second of that glam metal Batman for just making a Kiss character out of it, though, because it's like, you already have the parts to it. Why not? But yeah, I think it would be even better, because it's like, okay, you could have the minifigs as part of a display stand. I mean, hell. Look at Star Wars 20th anniversary. Anniversary 20, huh? They had display stands to go with the figures. People probably would have still bought the set if it didn't have that with it, but that made it a bit more valuable, a bit more special. There's an extra figure that, by collecting them all, you can line them up in their own display stand. And then you have the Obi-Wan, which, you know, actually is over here. I knew it was within arm's reach. And that was a gift with purchase one, too. So if they did stuff like that with the art sets, that would actually make a lot of sense. Hell, they've referenced Elvis before in the Downtown Diner, basically. I mean, they didn't make exactly Elvis as a Lego figure, but they still got a lot of that 50s rock and roll look to him. You can't tell me that the face isn't inspired by Elvis. You can't tell me that the hairpiece, while it already existed, was used on purpose for that figure, for Elvis. because yeah, it was already a thing like almost 10 years ago. So this was something interesting. I did not expect to carry this long talking about the Spice Girls Brickheadz and all things Lego music tie-in related. And I literally just wanted to make a quick gag about Josh Mumbo in the beginning and then just call it a day. I already did a thread on Twitter basically highlighting this stuff before the live stream, but if you want to check that out for a little more comprehensive notes, there you go. I do want to throw one more thing in here. Even if you're a Spice Girls fan, are you willing to put out $50 for a Lego Brickheadz? Like, is that even a good price for merch? For that kind of, merch? I mean, like, again, for a Brickheadz set, it makes sense why they're all together. It makes sense why it's $50 because it's 5 of them and roughly 10 a piece. They did that with the Ninjago one as well. I forgot to mention that earlier. They had a Ninjago one that was a gift with purchase, and then they had it as a retail thing for $30. But these are going to be Lego store exclusives. They're not going to go to your Walmarts and Targets. They're not going to reach that far. Brickheadz, in general, have fallen from that retail market greatly. I mean, maybe you can still find some around outside of that, but not much, and not recently. Like, I can sometimes find, I think, the Mandalorian Brickheadz. I don't remember if there was anything else that could be at Walmart or Kohl's. And even at that, they're not moving. They've been sitting on shelves forever. So, and those are also a couple years old. The Mandalorian, I guess, almost 3 years old now. No, maybe 2. It came out during the show, but not at the end of the show and not at the beginning of the show. I'm not sure when exactly. So many Lego things, there's a lot to keep track of. It's weird. I wouldn't say it's bizarre. I'm sorry. I'd like to, but I don't. But this is drumming up interest, drumming up buzz, just because it can. It's a 25th anniversary that has already been celebrated technically, and then just releasing the following year for whatever reason that they had it delayed. It's not even the anniversary of the band. It's the anniversary of their first album and single release. So I don't even know if that counts. Like any of the other anniversaries they would have done with when the thing launched. If I bring up the Lego Star Wars again. 1999 is when they started making Lego Star Wars. That's when they first went on the shelves. So you could argue that either way, I guess, because I guess they would have technically been working on it in the wheelhouse before that. But I don't know if anybody knew the Spice Girls before 1996. After they started in 1994. Maybe. So I will at least concede to that as far as, why it's that number anniversary or what that anniversary is representing. But Lego has been very confusing about their anniversaries in the past, especially about their own company, which is weird because you would think they would have a record of that. But they've done ones before. They were just out of the blue. Didn't have any particular tie-in to a thing. It was just 95 years of imagination, or not 95, but, a big number of years of imagination. Of the company, of the brick. And then they have ones that a little more make sense. But, yeah. So I talked a while. I think that's it for now. I'm going to keep on keeping on. I'm going to keep moving things around. And I guess I'll work on that Aqua Brickheadz 25th anniversary or 30th anniversary mock on Studio or something. This is just for fun. So I don't expect it to sell well. I don't expect a lot of people to be really interested, even as a joke for it. Like, the tiger is a joke. It's a meme set that people buy, but it actually has good play features and good building potential to it. There's a lot of good techniques in it. Spice Girls does not. Even as a Brickheadz, it's very basic. And Brickheadz, though basic, can still offer really cool play features. Look at Homer and Krusty. That's one of my favorites, not just because of the license, but because it actually has some unique part usages. You have this little drawer thing that opens up Homer's stomach so you could actually fit a donut in there. Like, who would have thought of that? And there's like a different thing with his brain that when you're building it, it's like, it's really cool stuff. What do the Spice Girls do? They have microphones and a headset. I'm also going to be working on A Touch of Class. I'm going to be working on... I'm trying to think of other 90s pop bands that have like one-hit wonders. I'm sure I'll come up with some. So stay tuned for that. Maybe I'll post it on the community tab if we're interested. Oh, I will also have a quick video right after this if you're still sticking around after the live stream ends. Just a kind of a general channel thing that I've learned recently that I think we'll need to address and hopefully make things better. By the way, I am celebrating 10 years of Maniac for Bricks. I'm not necessarily celebrating it like every moment of this year because I don't want to be that guy, but it is a thing. And I just want to remind you again, the 10-year anniversary itself is on July 1st. I am still working on the details as to live streaming. I'm trying to keep the day open, and I'm hoping to keep the entire day open for live streaming, but we're working on it. And I'm also working on a lot of guest appearances, hopefully. I've sent out invitations in advance. I'm gonna try to make more noise about that, even though it is, something I want to try to improve things for the year itself. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. And that's something that I guess actually that goes in line with it too, huh? Because the first video was in 2012, but the channel was made before that. So, all right, I guess I understand how anniversaries work now. Anyways, thanks for watching.